as I was leaving the Air Force, all that was on my mind, I don't know what you were like at 27, but I was a total dipshit at 27. I'm not much better now at 42, but
yeah, you and me both.
But I was,
until you make it.
Yeah, but I was like, I just wanted to be anything other than a military officer. So I was actually in the process of applying to the Peace Corps through this thing called the internet, which was still fairly rudimentary in 2007. I had a computer lab that we went to, and it had 10 computers in it. You had to log in and log out, and slow internet and everything else. But anyways, I was filling out an online application to go work in the U.S. Peace Corps. I wanted to grow my hair out. I wanted to stop wearing shoes that were shiny. I wanted to meet a hippie chick and have hippie babies in the wild, teaching Nigerian children how to read. So that was the path I was going down. And as I filled in all of my details, there came this page that popped up, and it was this blinking red page, and it said, "Stop here. You may qualify for other government positions. If you're willing to put your application on hold for 72 hours, that gives us a chance to reach out to you." So again, 27-year-old dipshit, I was like, sure, I'll put myself on hold if I might qualify for other government opportunities. And then about a day later, I got a phone call from an almost unlisted number. It just said 703, which was very strange to see on my flip phone at the time, just one 703 area code. And I picked it up, and it was a person from Northern Virginia asking me if I would be, telling me that I was qualified for a position in national security, and if I would be interested, they'll pay for my ticket and fly me up to Langley, Virginia. They didn't say CIA. They said Langley. I put one and one together, and I was like, maybe this is CIA.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is this?
Yeah.
Or maybe this is all make-believe and this is totally fake. So either way, it doesn't hurt me at all to say yes. They already have my phone number. So yes. And then I remember thinking, there's no way that happened, and this isn't real. And then a day later, I got FedEx or an overnight delivery of an airplane ticket and a hotel reservation and a rental car reservation. And then I just kept doing the next thing, which I found out later on is a form of control. You just do the next thing that they tell you to do. And then before I knew it, I was interviewing in a nondescript building with a person who only told me their first name for a position with the National Clandestine Service.
So you never really got a chance to think about it because there's small steps along the way, and it kind of just leads you. And your personality is such that
that's an adventure.
It's an adventure, and you don't, because it's one step at a time, you don't necessarily see the negative consequences of the adventure. You don't think about any of that. You're just stepping into the adventure.
And it's easy. There's no work involved. Somebody else is doing all the work, telling me where to be and when. It's a lot like basic training in the military. Anybody who's ever been through basic training will tell you they hated the first few days, and then by the end, it was really comforting because you just did what you were told. They told you when to eat. They made the decision of what to eat. And then you marched when they told you to march, shined your shoes when they told you to shine your shoes. Human beings love being told what to do.
What about the training process for becoming a covert CIA agent?
Yeah, so the interview process is...
Yeah, the interview process too. How rigorous was that?
It was very rigorous. That was where it became difficult. Everything up to the first interview was easy, but there's 3 interviews. And some people are lucky enough to have 4 or 5 interviews if something goes wrong or something goes awry with the first few interviews. And again, this might be dated from when I went through, but during the interview process is when they do your psychological evaluations, they do your personality assessments, they do skills assessments. They'll start sending you back to wherever you're living with assignments, not intel assignments, but actual like homework assignments.
Mm-hmm.
Write an essay about 3 parts of the world that you think will be most impacted in the next 3 to 5 years, or, prioritize the top 3 strategic priorities for the United States and, put it into 250 words or 2,500 words and whatever else, double spaced in this font, yada, 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 like super specific stuff. It's kind of stressful. But it's just like going back to college again. So you go through all of those acts, and then you submit this stuff to some PO box that doesn't have anybody that's ever going to respond to you. And then you just send it into the ether, and you hope that you sent it right. You hope that you wrote right well enough. You hope that your assessment was right, whatever else it might be. And then eventually you get another phone call that says, hey, we received your package. You've been moved to the next level of interview. And now we need you to go to this other nondescript building in this other nondescript city. And then you start meeting, you start sitting in waiting rooms with other groups of people who are at the same phase of interview with you, which were some of the coolest experiences that I remember still. One of my best friends to this day, who I don't get to talk to because he's still undercover, is a guy I met during those interview processes. And I was like, oh, we met. I saw what he was wearing. He saw what I was wearing. I was
So
brown.
you immediately connected and you liked the people there.
Close. More like we immediately judge each other because we're all untrained.
Right.
So he looked at me and he was like, brown dude with crazy hair. And I was dressed like a total ass. I was dressed in like a clubbing shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it'd be a good idea to go to a CIA interview in like a clubbing shirt with my buttons unbuttoned down to here.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you were really, after we got in, he was like, yeah, dude, you were always really cool to talk to. But I was like, there's no way that idiot's getting in. And I remember looking at him and being like, dude, you were just another white guy in a black suit.
Yeah.
They're not looking for you,
Yeah.
but here you are.
Yeah.
So it's just those kinds of things were so interesting because we were totally wrong about what CIA was looking for. Until you're in, you have no idea what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just shooting in the dark.
Did they have you do a lie detector test?
Yes, it's called a polygraph.
Polygraph. How effective, just interesting for our previous discussion, how effective are those?
Polygraphs are really interesting. So one of the things that people don't understand about polygraphs is that polygraphs aren't meant to detect a lie. Like they're called a lie detector,
Yeah.
but they're not actually meant to detect a lie. They're built to detect variance from your physiological baseline. So they're essentially meant to identify sensitivities to certain types of questions. And then as they identify a sensitivity to a question, it gives the interviewer an additional piece of information to direct the next round of questions. So then from there, they can kind of see how sensitive you are to a certain level of questions. And your sensitivity could be a sign of dishonesty, but it could also be a sign of vulnerability. So the interrogator themselves, the interviewer themselves, they're the one that have to make the judgment call as to which one it is, which is why you might see multiple interviewers over the course of multiple polygraphs. But that's really what they're all about. So, I mean, outside of, they're extremely uncomfortable, like they're mentally uncomfortable, but then there's also, you sit on a pad because the pad is supposed to be able to tell like your body movements, but also like your sphincter contractions or whatever. So you're sitting on this pad, you're plugged in, you're strapped in, you're tied up, and it takes so much time to get in there. And then they start asking you questions, baseline questions at first, and then other questions from there. And you're just answering the best you can. And you never know what they're seeing and you don't know what they're doing. And it's really hard not to get anxious of that anyways. And
Are
then
they the whole time monitoring the readings?
Yeah, from like they've got multiple screens and they've got it's all information superiority. They have information superiority. You're the idiot looking away from them or looking sideways of them and trying not to move because you're afraid that if you like have gas or if you move a little bit, it's going to vary you from your baseline.
Yeah.
And the whole time you're worried, your heart's racing and your blood pressure's increasing, which is a variance from baseline.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting art.
Or your baseline.
Correct.
Maybe there's some people that are just chilling the whole time and that's their baseline.
Right. But
that's what they're doing. They're establishing a baseline. I mean, I guess that means the polygraph is a skill that you develop
Absolutely.
to do it well.
So when people talk about beating a lie detector, it's not that they're telling an effective lie. That's not hard. It's not hard to tell a lie to an interviewer. And the interviewer doesn't care if you're being honest or not honest about a topic. What they're looking for is sensitivity. If they see no sensitivity, that's a big sign for them. That's a big sign that you're probably a pathological liar. If you show sensitivity to many things, then that's a sign that you're probably an anxious person. And they can still reset their baseline because they can tell how your anxiety is increasing, in 15-minute increments. It's a unique skill. I mean, a really good polygrapher is immensely valuable. But it's the misnomers, the misconceptions about polygraphs are vast. If you like this short clip, make sure you click here to see the next clip or here to see the full podcast episode.